Professional news. GB News host Eamonn Holmes furious as he asks, does it make a darn bit of difference? Eamonn Holmes, the outspoken and often controversial host of GB News, was visibly frustrated and angered during a recent broadcast when he posed the rhetorical question, does it make a darn bit of difference? His comments came amid an intense political discussion on his show, where he questioned the value and impact of current government policies and political movements. As a veteran broadcaster with decades of experience, Holmes has earned a reputation for being unapologetically candid, and his latest outburst has sparked considerable debate among viewers, critics, and political analysts alike. The moment that sparked the outrage. Holmes' exasperation boiled over during a segment that focused on the recent political developments in the UK. The discussion centered around several key issues, including the government's latest policy announcements, shifts in leadership, and public reactions to various political decisions. As the conversation grew heated, Holmes, who has made a name for himself as a broadcaster unafraid to challenge the status quo, questioned the very premise of political change. With palpable frustration, Holmes turned to his co-presenters and asked, does it make a darn bit of difference? His words, seemingly simple on the surface, carried a heavy underlying critique of the political system and the apparent disconnect between politicians and the public. Holmes' remark resonated with many viewers who feel similarly disillusioned by the ongoing cycle of political promises and reforms that rarely seem to translate into tangible, positive change for ordinary people. Holmes' criticism of the political system. Eamonn Holmes has long been critical of the political system, particularly when it comes to the promises made by political parties and the reality of governance. His comment on GB News reflects a deep-seated skepticism that has only grown stronger in recent years. Like many of his viewers, Holmes appears to believe that politicians, regardless of party affiliation, are often out of touch with the challenges faced by everyday citizens. In his remark, Holmes seemed to suggest that the constant changes in government policy, leadership reshuffles, and media coverage of political developments do little to alter the lived experiences of the average person. For Holmes, the key question remains whether these political actions actually address the issues that matter most, such as healthcare, housing, education, and job security. Holmes' frustration is not just about the policies themselves, but also about what he perceives as the media's failure to hold politicians accountable. The media, in his view, often allows political figures to avoid real scrutiny, instead focusing on trivial matters or sensational headlines that distract from substantive issues. This, in turn, creates an environment where meaningful change is stymied, and the political process becomes increasingly disconnected from the public's concerns. Holmes' track record of challenging the status quo. This is not the first time that Holmes has voiced dissatisfaction with the political system or the way in which the media covers political issues. Throughout his career, Holmes has developed a reputation for speaking his mind and refusing to adhere to the conventional expectations of broadcasters. Whether he is hosting a morning show or discussing current affairs, Holmes is known for his willingness to question authority, challenge political figures, and offer blunt, sometimes controversial, opinions. His background in journalism and broadcasting has equipped him with the ability to dissect political and social issues in a way that resonates with many viewers. Holmes' candid approach to discussing the news has made him a popular figure with audiences who feel alienated by the more polished, often predictable, narratives presented by other news outlets. However, his directness has also earned him a fair share of criticism. Some argue that Holmes' skepticism and frustration with the political process can border on cynicism, and they question whether his comments might inadvertently discourage people from engaging with the democratic process altogether. Nevertheless, for many viewers, Holmes' unapologetic honesty is a breath of fresh air in a media landscape often dominated by politically correct narratives. The role of the media in political discourse. Holmes' comments about the political system also bring attention to the broader role of the media in shaping public opinion. In his view, much of the media focuses on sensationalizing political controversies rather than providing in-depth analysis or offering meaningful insights into policy decisions. This focus on drama and conflict, rather than substance, may contribute to the growing disillusionment many people feel toward politics. In a time when trust in the media and political institutions is at an all-time low, Holmes' critique resonates with viewers who feel that the media often fails to provide the kind of thorough, fact-based reporting that is needed to make informed decisions. Instead, much of the media landscape seems preoccupied with clickbait, celebrity culture, and political soundbites that do little to address the underlying problems facing society. As a host on GB News, which positions itself as an alternative to mainstream news outlets, Holmes is particularly attuned to the challenges of presenting news in a way that is engaging yet informative. He has often expressed his frustration with the media's tendency to prioritize ratings over substance, which he believes has contributed to a public that is less informed and more disengaged from the political process. The public reaction to Holmes' comments. The reaction to Holmes' outburst has been mixed, with many viewers applauding his candor and others criticizing his apparent pessimism. On social media, his question, "Does it make a darn bit of difference?" quickly became a point of discussion. Some praised Holmes for articulating what they themselves have been feeling, that the political system is broken and that little is being done to address the issues that matter most to the public. These viewers expressed their frustration with the government's inability to enact meaningful change and appreciated Holmes' willingness to speak out. Others, however, took issue with Holmes' tone and suggested that his comments were overly negative. They argued that while the political system may have its flaws, it is still worth engaging with and that dismissing it altogether could further erode public trust in democracy. Some critics also questioned whether Holmes' comments might inadvertently fuel apathy among viewers, encouraging them to disengage from the political process entirely. Despite the mixed reactions, one thing is clear: Holmes' comments have sparked a larger conversation about the state of politics, the role of the media, and the growing disconnect between politicians and the public. The broader context: political disillusionment in the UK. Holmes' frustrations are part of a larger trend of political disillusionment that has been growing in the UK and other Western democracies. Voter turnout in many elections has been declining, and public trust in government institutions has reached new lows. Many people feel that their voices are not being heard, and that politicians are more concerned with maintaining power than with addressing the real issues that affect their constituents. In the UK, this disillusionment has been particularly evident in the wake of Brexit, which highlighted the deep divisions in British society. While some celebrate the decision to leave the European Union as a victory for democracy, others see it as a symbol of the failure of the political establishment to effectively represent the needs and desires of the public. This polarization has only intensified the sense of frustration and disillusionment that Holmes expressed during his broadcast. The future of political discourse. As the political landscape continues to evolve, it is clear that the concerns raised by Eamonn Holmes and many of his viewers are unlikely to go away anytime soon. The role of the media in shaping political discourse will remain a contentious issue, with calls for greater transparency, accountability, and more substantive reporting. Likewise, the growing sense of political disillusionment will likely continue to fuel debates about the effectiveness of democratic systems and whether they are truly serving the needs of the people. For Holmes, his outburst is a reflection of his deep frustration with the state of politics and the media. Whether or not his comments will lead to meaningful change remains to be seen, but they have undoubtedly sparked a larger conversation about the direction of politics in the UK and beyond. Conclusion: a call for meaningful change. Eamonn Holmes' question, "Does it make a darn bit of difference?" is a powerful indictment of the political and media systems in the UK. For many, it serves as a reminder of the growing sense of frustration and disillusionment with the political process. While some may dismiss Holmes' comments as overly cynical, they reflect a deeper concern about the state of democracy and the need for real, tangible change. As the political climate continues to shift, it remains to be seen whether the concerns raised by Holmes and others will lead to greater accountability, reform, and, ultimately, a political system that is more responsive to the needs of the people.